Welcome back to another video. This time we're looking at SEI, another popular cryptocurrency that is in many people's portfolio. When is the best time to buy this coin if you're looking to add this to your portfolio? Always start with the 1 day higher time frame, making sure that we are in line with the structure. This zone particularly is important to me, as is this zone here. We can see that the price action is trending downwards, so it's not in a good area to be buying right now. But will it bottom out at this point here? Is that the bottom? In my opinion, this seems like a more of a realistic price that we would be looking to buy. I've switched on EngineeringRobo AI just to give us some information and let's understand what EngineeringRobo AI is telling us. Immediately, we've had a sell signal here, which we can identify where the gray candle has actually turned neutral before it going bearish. This is a turning point here. Correctly, it has identified a support zone which does align to my price point that I would be interested in. Maybe I've set a point where it's a little bit too low, but this is certainly an area that I'll be interested in terms of looking in to get a buy entry here. The dashboard itself is telling us that it has a social intelligence score powered by AI of -5. This is actually the sentiment across social media sites such as Reddit and X. Across all the time frames, it's bearish, all of them except the 45-minute one. So on the daily, it's not looking good at all in terms of entering this right now. When could we look to enter? So before I move over to that, I just want to quickly identify some key points of this chart. So I look at the stochastic just to give us a reading of where price is in terms of its cycle. And when we look at the tops, we can see that every time it goes into the top band, it's almost selling off. And if I go to the bottom band here, we can see that it has triggered a buy. At the moment, we can see that the last top was very close to the high, and at that time EngineeringRobo AI had given us a buy signal but told us to get out around about here. That would have given us a price or profit target of 17% on the daily. That's no mean feat, and it's pretty good going. We've not had any buy signals at the moment, and we can see weakness across the board. One thing to point out is that along the stochastic RSI, it has broken that trend. So it is at an interesting point to see what will actually happen. Let's move down onto the lower time frame to understand what EngineeringRobo is telling us. So as the indicator loads over 1,500 lines of code, so it does take a little bit of time. But we can see that the 3-hour time frame is nicely following the daily downward trend, and EngineeringRobo has identified key resistance lines that the token hasn't broken. In terms of where stochastic is right now, it's at the upper band, so we're still bearish on this, and rightly so. The indicator itself has printed a sell signal. I'm quite liking this for a short, certainly not a time to be buying this coin at the moment. In terms of what we will be looking at, even on the 3-hour, it's got an AI social intelligence score of 4. With price at a resistance zone, we are looking to go further down. And when we're looking to go further down, if we look left, this seems like a key point of price action here. So we've got two areas that are potentially short-term targets if we were looking to take a short on this. One would be at the next support zone, which would be a 10% about a 10% drop. And then if we were to extend that down to the next support zone, we are potentially looking at a drop of 21%. So as always with crypto, it depends on what Bitcoin is doing, and to see how that is reacting. We can see by looking at the dashboard that on the daily, Bitcoin has turned bearish. On the 15-minute is neutral, but with the larger, bigger time frames, we always want to be taking our leads from there. So right now, if I were to be entering this as a short-term trade, I would just like to get some confidence on the smaller time frame. This is looking good for a short hair. I've not put the stop loss at the resistance line there. I want to put it on the previous local high. For me, this area here is too close. This area here is too close, so I would be inclined to put it a little bit higher, especially on the higher time frame. If I move down to a smaller time frame and look at the 45-minute time frame, again, we are quite some distance away from the trend line from a daily perspective. The indicator has given us a buy signal, but if we remember, it was only the 45-minute that was actually bullish. So it's definitely one to be keeping an eye on. It has bottomed out on the stochastic indicator as well. And from a Fibonacci retracement perspective, we can see that it has touched or almost touched the 70% line, and it is in the kind of golden pocket between 62 and 70. So it's certainly something that I would be waiting for, either a pullback either up to this 50% line, or it may go higher for it to be dropping a little bit more. Now, 15-minute time frame is only is for scalpers essentially, and something that only experienced traders should be looking at. If I were to tell us what EngineeringRobo is telling us, let's put in the support and resistance line and let's pull up the dashboard. Already you can see the sell signal has been printed. So let's put that on the bottom left. And whilst that is loading, let's see where we are in the stochastics. So again, looking at the upper bands and seeing where price has actually taken us, we can see that it has identified these higher highs from a local perspective. This is particularly interesting to me because we've had a period of consolidation around this box. Price hasn't broken upwards, and there's resistance lines all across the board here. So price is going up slightly. What I'll be again looking, which mirrors the 45-minute, is wait for this to go higher, maybe on the 50% or a little bit higher, for then to make this entry a little bit more tighter. When it comes to stop loss, we could actually tighten this up and track the trade on a 15-minute time frame. We could potentially put it above this resistance line, but we'd need to monitor that, potentially see what happens to price once it gets to this equal high. So just here, or more preferably if it goes above 80%, to see where and what price is actually doing, to then adjust our risk to reward. Ideally, if we can get it close to as possible to the resistance lines, then that is a better trade. So that's if we were bearish. If we are looking to include this popular coin within our portfolio, where would we be looking to buy? Let us focus on that, and we'll continue to use the 15-minute time frame just in terms of getting entries. We did identify that on the 3-hour for this price point that was hit on the 20th of December. That, as I mentioned before, is somewhat like 10% away. So that's potentially your first key area around the 37 cents mark. Failing that, then we are looking around the 33 cents mark to get into this from a portfolio perspective. As always, keep an eye on what Bitcoin is doing and what the market cap is saying on Bitcoin. I will post an update to see where we are and if SEI is ready to be added into our portfolio. Hope you found this video useful. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and watch out for the next one.